Recording.
Why do you clap?
Because I'm testing the mic.
Yeah, but there's so many other ways to test the mic other than clapping. Like, you can literally just see the waveform.
Snap, snap.
I mean, now you're just wasting resources.
Clap, clap.
Ooh, don't get that.
Yeah, so...
I do like my glasses, though. I really do.
I'm glad that you do. I will say...
I've embraced the glasses look, and I like it.
Good. You should do a model shoot. That's going to be very good for you.
That's a lot of work.
Not really. All you have to do is just sit there and pose.
Says the man who will not copy outlines, but instead redoes an old one.
What does that even have to do with anything that we're talking about right now?
Because I just said it's hard, and you were like, no, it's easy. All you have to do is pose. Well, guess what? All you have to do is hit make a copy. Boom. Roasted. That's what you get.
Why do you have to come for my life like that? I don't understand.
That's what happens. We have an outline. Yeah. Use it. I made it for a reason. You're the one I was saying you want to do scripts. I made you that outline.
Oh man, Josh, everybody. He's very cranky today.
Back in my day, we didn't have outlines. We wrote with a stick in the dirt.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I had?
A Game Boy.
I had a ball. And the clap.
That old man is weird, though, isn't he? Like,
yeah.
How did he even get here?
That's going to be you in apparently 5 years.
I can hear you. You and your technology. I'm going to go for a run.
Do you do that, Grandpa?
Greetings and welcome to our show, Fresh Geek Context. It is here we discuss insightful views on a routine bi-weekly basis over the incredibly nerdy things we can't stop talking about. To take you on this dorky ride are your host, Josh.
Hello? Does this work?
Grandpa, get out! Hi, I'm Josh.
And myself, Jace. So why don't you take a seat, sit back, relax. We're here to do all the heavy lifting. It is about to get nerdy. This is episode 97.
Part uno. I have one card left.
This is what happens when you screw up the script. Because life is crazy, and we know that whatever we talk about will ultimately go haywire because news comes out pretty much every single minute.
Yes, indeedy. Let's get right on to it. Hi, Jace. How are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm a little loopy.
Little loopy? How loopy?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, life is returning back to normal, sort of.
Sure.
But it's still Bizarre Land. It's Bizarro Land. That's really what it is.
You know what else is Bizarro Land?
What is it?
Movie delays.
What movie delays do we have now?
Movies are just getting pushed back and back and back, and I am tired of it, Jace. I understand the reasoning, but I am tired of it. Okay,
but I'm not okay with it.
I'm not okay with it. I understand it. Oh, do I understand it?
Right.
But I'm not happy with it.
Well, which movies are getting pushed back?
Yeah, we got a few things that are being pushed back. So just recently, we learned that 007, James Bond himself, never die again? Is that it? I believe.
We're going to say yes. Yes.
Has been delayed, pushed back to April of 2021. Black Widow, once again, delayed over to the March of 2021, which moves the entire Marvel slate over. So there's that.
Yeah, I guess that's the downside of the it's all connected motto.
Yeah.
Like, you move one thing down, like, it all comes down.
It all crumbles to the ground. And then we also got Falcon and Winter Soldier being delayed as well because of filming and whatnot.
It was supposed to be out in August.
No! So many things that I'm just, like, very... very saddened about. However, once again, I understand the reason for it. Because we are living in the apocalypse. We can get Starbucks in the apocalypse, but we're in the apocalypse.
At least there's Starbucks.
Do you get Starbucks?
Pumpkin spice since in the fall. No, not really.
Every once in a while.
I mean, it's very rare. Did you? What'd you get?
Iced mocha.
Oh, that's a tasty flavor.
I like it.
You like that. You do pumpkin spice?
You know, I've never had a pumpkin spice.
Neither have I.
I feel like
Maybe
that might change
we'll,
this month. I'm not sure yet, but
Oh?
not because I want to. More than likely because I will be going with people who would like to, and I'm going to end up tasting it in some capacity.
You should do a voice memo for yourself and say like, "Hey, this is a live review of pumpkin spice."
Just insert it into the next episode. I got you.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, so a lot of things being delayed. What are your thoughts on those?
I mean, if I sat here and said to you that I don't believe that any movie is not going to get delayed ever again, then I would tell you that I probably didn't believe myself.
Sure.
It's going to happen. It's just going to continue happening. Unless we have a real control, and we really don't like to wax, political or philosophical. But the reality is that we live in a world where one vertical market absolutely affects the other. Yeah. So, entertainment is primarily what we talk about. Every once in a while, we'll talk about news. Every once in a while, we'll talk about technology. But, I mean, in the country that we live in, we hope people understand that what they do has an impact on what everyone else is doing. Yep. So if we don't behave responsibly, we all get pushed back.
Yep.
We're all getting left back a year. I mean, really, I'd love to go on vacation, but it's difficult to do that these days.
Very difficult, especially when we're not allowed in, everywhere. We're not allowed in the world. Apparently.
Yeah, exactly. So that's great. I mean, we can travel in the states, but every state has its own rules, and sometimes some states scare more than others.
I mean, how many times can I drive past Georgia? Like, come on, guys.
So, I mean, it's unfortunate, and once we get it, the faster we can return back to normal. So the only thing I can really do in this platform is to say, like, hey, let's do what we can. Let's wear the masks. Let's social distance. And we can get movies back again. If
only it were that easy.
If only.
But we were talking earlier, and you had an interesting fact that didn't occur to me until you said this. Would you like to tell the audience what that interesting fact was?
Oh, yeah. So are you talking about the Marvel Studios fact?
Yeah.
Yes. So the Marvel Studios fact, because we talk about Marvel pretty much every single episode, we're actually going to... Yeah, well, I mean, kind of. We kind of do.
We do?
We kind of do. Yes, we do.
What's Marvel?
Stop it. Don't do that. Stop it. Bad Josh. So, interesting fact. This is going to be the first year that we have not had a Marvel Studios movie come out since 2009.
Which is insane,
right? Because you think about it, in 2008, Iron Man and Incredible Hulk came out in the same year. And I think that was one of those times where, for the people that were alive and or interested at movies in that time, we kind of had an idea like, oh, these things are like referencing each other. And we didn't have anything to look forward to until 2009 when Iron Man 2 came out. So pretty much since then, we've had a movie come out every single year. And then they started increasing it. We had 2 a year. Then we have 3 a year. So to go from that all the way to the finale with Avengers Endgame and then finish it off, which honestly, if you look at Spider-Man Far From Home,
it's like an epilogue.
It's really like a coda, if you will. Yeah. Now, it's 2020 and we're waiting to start the next phase. We don't have anything. I mean, Black Widow got pushed back. We should be experiencing Eternals right about now. We're getting ramped up for at least the final trailer, and none of that is happening. The only thing that's actually happening is we're getting WandaVision.
Yep.
Now, WandaVision was supposed to be coming around this time, like end of 2020. We were supposed to have Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but like you said before, with all the Marvel movie studio properties that are getting pushed back, so are the television shows.
Right,
so
because they tie into each
that
other.
was right, exactly. So who knows how this is all going to play out? I still trust them. It's just weird. It's just a weird place to be in.
Oh yeah, especially when you literally have this huge roadmap, right? And we've known for a while that Feige and company, they essentially have this giant map just saying, okay, this goes here, this goes here, this comes out at this time, and once that comes out, this is going to follow because that's going to tie into this, which will then tie into that movie, which everything is just all very tightly kept. And I can only imagine, them having to redo however many years of planning that they've already had and push everything away because of everything that's happened this year alone.
Yeah.
Because I don't honestly think it's as simple as shift over, right? I don't think it's as simple as that.
No, but at the same time, I would hope that there's some type of flexibility, right? If something happens, obviously not as big as a pandemic of 2020, the pandemic of 2020. I'm hoping that there's a little bit of flexibility. Like, hey, we still need time to cast for this project that's going to be coming up that we're intending to announce. If we don't have this done, then we need to shift this back. And actually, to be honest with you, we've been seeing this at work since the James Gunn incident.
Yeah.
I mean, that was supposed to be the beginning of Phase 4, and that didn't happen at all. No, I mean, I feel like Phase 4 has just been plagued with weirdness, to be completely honest with you. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was supposed to start Phase 4. And, James Gunn, like we know, didn't say anything recently. Somebody with ill intent decided to go back and find out things that were said in the past that had no bearing on where he is today and where we are today, and decided to make the past the present, and decisions were made. He got boosted. People were asking for him to come back, and people were standing still and firm on what their decisions were making. He got hired by DC and then got rehired by Marvel. So now, here we are, Phase 4, hoping to happen, and now, coronavirus, man. Coronavirus has been the big catalyst for everything.
All because somebody dug up a tweet of James Gunn. Look at that.
This is how it all got started. Stupid Twitter. Anyways, yeah, Phase 4 has been this, like, I don't know, like, as weird as this is, could you imagine, and I think you and I have talked about this before, could you imagine if we saw Avengers Infinity War and we were waiting for Avengers Endgame and coronavirus happened? I think I'd be losing it right now. I don't think I would be okay with this.
I would have found a way to leak that movie somehow. I would have learned coding. I would have learned how to hack. Disney servers would be down.
No, I mean, you might actually have to figure out how to get a job, like, on property and say, like, hey, I'm just looking for a job. And just go straight to the server room and just,
exactly. Be like, I have a...
lifted.
I have a USB right here. Just going to plug that in. Just going to hit download. Okay, we're good.
Now, would you just watch it for yourself, or would you share it with the people?
You do that thing with your voice. That's weird.
Don't you do that. You know exactly what I'm doing.
I have no idea what you're doing right now.
Stop it. Just stop it.
It's very strange. You should get that checked out. So I think that I would first watch it for myself, and then I would share it with...
You wouldn't share it with...
I would share it with...
Would you share it with me? Would you share it with me first, or would you share it with the community?
I'd share it with you first. Absolutely.
I don't know, man. I don't... Whereas I would... Honestly...
Wait, hold on.
The way I...
Pause. Would you not share it with me?
I don't know if I would take it.
Oh, all right. That's a good answer.
I don't know if I would take it, to be completely honest with you. Because I'd be there, because once I open Pandora's box, it's not under the security of whoever is holding it anymore. You know what I mean?
You're right.
So,
but see, by me,
now I feel like I'm a target.
By me leaking it, then they would be like, "Oh no, they've leaked it. It's on the interwebs. We have no choice." Disney Plus Premium.
I don't think it would be on Disney Plus.
Oh, if we're good. Well,
I don't know about that. You could, and here's the reason why. And here's the reason why. Before we move on to the next topic, you remember a very long time ago, and when I say a long time ago, I mean like 2 years ago.
I mean, this year feels like 7. So yes, that was a long time ago.
That's it, like the magic number that everyone keeps using, like 7 years in 2020. Anyways, you remember Comic-Con? Remember way back when Comic-Con used to be this thing that was untouchable for at least you and me?
Yes.
Where we'd always get the leaks and like the live blogs and people streaming it on Twitter. They announced the trailer, like the super secret trailer for Avengers Infinity War. And we saw it. And then Disney kept striking and claiming all the copyright claim. Right. And like to this day, it's not the easiest thing to find.
Nope. I have that thing on.
So like, I know. So, like, to this day, if the original Comic-Con Infinity War trailer is still not easy to find, best believe if somebody leaked it, I'm pretty sure they would just find a way to, like, remove it from the internet so nobody had it.
But I still have it on my USB.
That means that they would find you and make an example out of you.
Oh.
You would see the Marvel Ninjas.
I get to meet them?
You don't want to meet them. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I care about you. So just delete it. Delete any copy, any reference, any clue trace that you had that leads you back to them.
Listen,
just get rid of it. Don't do it.
Can't stop the signal. That's a Firefly reference for any of you out there. I'm sorry, Serenity.
Like the beacon.
Technically.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm aware. Yes. But it's I don't know. Like I said, I would stay away from it. I would say it's unfortunate. I really wanted to know what happened to all the characters that got dusted away, quote unquote. It would be really tough, but I would be really glad that at least most of it was filmed. So
yeah, for sure.
I mean,
they filmed
think about
back,
it.
so yeah.
Exactly. But could you imagine they actually still had more things to film and they stopped everything?
No,
that would be awful.
That is, you know what? That is the darkest timeline. Not necessarily the one that we're in. That is the darkest one. Because I didn't get to see Endgame in that one. At least now I can just watch it from the comfort of my couch whenever I want.
Yeah. You're feeling depressed. Go put in Endgame.
I need to see that portal scene again. Let's go.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But, speaking of having things on Disney Plus to watch, like Endgame.
Yes.
So you, myself, and a few other friends, earlier in the year when we started, quarantining ourselves, we wanted to watch movies together still. But,
yes.
We found a way to do it. It wasn't exactly the best way, but it worked.
No.
Right?
We were such Neanderthals back then, like cavemen. We were trying to figure that how to make this work.
But it worked. We took rocks and we smashed them and it worked. We made fire somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's a much better way to do it. And I say so much better in quotations based on the test that we did.
Yes.
But I mean, for 1 out of 5 clicks, I guess that's an okay average, right?
Sure.
So can you explain to everyone what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. So what Josh is actually referring to on Disney Plus is a new feature that has been announced officially, finally, because this was rolling out in other countries, but we did have it here in the States. If you had a chance in another country and you're listening to us, you are very lucky because we were clamoring for this for a while. The feature that is what I'm actually referring to is actually called Group Watch. And Group Watch is actually not a unique feature. There are several services that kind of do that. You can do this on Netflix through a computer with extensions through your web browser. However, this one actually is directly through the app. And actually, Josh, it's interesting that we're actually talking about this now because we were actually testing something similar to this on a feature called Movies Anywhere. And Movies Anywhere actually is primarily owned by Disney. So for a service and a feature like this, I'm imagining this is something that has been in development for a really long time. And, when you're testing something like this, there's just a lot of testing that you need to do, and a lot of bugs are going to come up, and a lot of irregularities that could potentially present itself. So you collect all that information, you bring it back to the developers, they constantly retweak it and fix it and fix it and fix it. So if you're familiar with Movies Anywhere, SharePass is something that allows you to not only share movies with one another, but you actually can also share, I guess, the same synchronicity with the movie. So, yeah, that feature that's in Movies Anywhere is literally implanted right into Disney Plus, which we are very glad that it's here, but there are some issues. And
yeah, like the issue of not being able to connect if you click it one time.
Yeah. So, if you're familiar with Amazon, Amazon has this. Do you use Amazon? Are you a fan of Amazon? I don't know.
I mean, I have Amazon. I use Amazon. I am a Prime member.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jeff Bezos had a meeting with his executive team, and they were studying the process of what it looked like for a user to get to the end goal. And they were counting how many clicks that it took. And Jeff Bezos put up one finger and he said, one click. One click. How can we get this entire process to come down to one click? So I'm always very conscious of that. Whenever it is that I'm doing whatever it is that I'm trying to do, like how fast can I get to what it is that I need to do? Because if I need to, I notice that I'll check out after like 5 taps. If I haven't gotten to something in 5 taps, it's already not good for me.
It's not worth your time.
Yeah, it's not worth my time. So with Disney Plus and Group Watch, there are several steps that need to happen, and you can't do it directly through the television. Your television is involved in the process, but you also need the mobile app. So I'm going to give you an example. We're just going to watch. Could you pick a Disney movie, Josh, please?
I mean, we were just talking about Avengers Endgame, so why not?
Perfect. So it's such a depressing movie. Let's do Avengers 1. Anyway, we're watching Avengers 1.
How is it a depressing movie?
Because it kind of is. This is the way it starts. Hawkeye loses his kids and his family. This is awful. So we're just going to do Avengers 1. So we're doing Avengers 1. If I want to invite you, Josh, to watch this movie with me, what I need to do is, because if I'm on my television and I'm watching it through there, I can't invite you there. What I need to do is, while I'm watching it on my television, I need to pick up my phone, open up the app, go to the movie, tap the group watch feature, and invite you. When I invite you, I can send it by text message. And then once I send that text message, I have to start the stream, even though I'm already watching on my television. Okay. Once I start the stream there, you then have to tap that link and start watching it there. And then once we've joined the room there, we can now push it to our televisions, which is understandable, but it's awkward AF. It's really involved. It's way too many steps. So
I got tired just listening to that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like it's just going to be just that, because depending on where you are, depending on the time, you may not be able to just tap on that group watch feature. You might have to try it a few times. So while I am thankful that this feature is here, there are some issues, and I don't complain about much. If you watch the show, there are a few things that I did complain about. One of those things was, why couldn't Fox just sell X-Men to Disney? I just didn't understand why that is. I famously complained in spades, but that's in the past now. It's behind me. I'm back to normal. This is weird. This is a weird process, and I encourage you to check it out for yourself and let us know what you think. I mean, if you have an easier way, or if you feel like it's not that involved, please let me know. I'd love to know.
Yeah, tell us everything. Tell us how you feel about the feature, about how many clicks it took you to get there. We want to hear all of it, all the statistics.
Because if it's double digits, we need to improve that.
That's a problem.
It's a problem. That's absolutely.
But the good news is that we will be able to have group watch parties with WandaVision.
Yes. And maybe
She-Hulk.
and Mandalorian, because I don't know if you've actually watched. You haven't still watched that. You yeah, never mind. We're just gonna just drop that. Yep.
I've watched it, but I think I have like 3 episodes left, and that was a year ago.
Yeah, you haven't watched it.
Gotta go.
So yeah, the new season is going to be coming out this month. I'm super excited. I'm glad that it's coming out because we need something to lighten anything at this point. So yeah, again, I can't really knock it. I mean, before the group watch feature, what we had to do was start, a video chat either through, Skype or FaceTime or Zoom, what have you, or even a phone call. And we would all get up on the same time and we would sync it down and get ready to press play at the same time. So it feels very 1990s. And that's not even what happened in the 90s. In the 90s, I would just, hey, Josh, come over. We'll just have a movie night. But in the pandemic, we can't do that because
Wait, to go see people? Are you kidding?
Yeah, you might die.
You do that?
Yeah, we don't do that here.
What's wrong with you? We don't do that here.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Yeah, I know.
2020 is too much.
As I said it, I was like, oh.
It's too much, man.
I immediately thought of the GIF and just him doing the motions, and I'm like, oh,
it's terrible.
Anyway,
so
I mentioned WandaVision real quick. What did you think of that trailer?
That trailer is crazy. That's exactly.
I don't know what's happening, and I love it.
I want to know, and it's just what Marvel Studios has afforded the opportunity to be super weird and cryptic in their trailers at this point. I mean, they don't have to tell me or spell it out. You could be weird. Wanda and Vision, I should say, are beloved characters at this point, and they have such a following where they're allowed to be weird and, again, cryptic, where the fans are going to want to see it anyway, and it's going to be enough to want to get people who aren't familiar with any of these characters and, dare I say, never seen anything from Marvel Studios where they say, yeah, I think I want to watch this.
Yeah. And I'm excited for it. Can I just tell you how much of a nerd I am right now?
How much of a nerd are you?
So I watched that trailer and I'm like, oh, this is great. I love it. Marvel, getting new things and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a point in the trailer where at the beginning, the first shot or the first few shots, they're all in 4:3 aspect ratio.
Mm-hmm.
And then as Wanda starts realizing and Vision starts realizing something weird is going on.
Mm-hmm.
The aspect ratio slowly turns into 16:9.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really like that.
I do too.
It was so cool because the first time I didn't notice it, and then I watched it again, and I'm like, wait a second. Did they just switch formats as they're figuring things out, they're realizing that they're not in this 50s era timeline?
Mm-hmm. I'm
like, that is cool. That is just really cool detail, and I got a little giddy when I saw that when I finally realized it. Not even the rest of the show, just the fact that they went from a 4:3 aspect ratio to 16:9. I was just like, that's so cool.
Yeah,
that's how much of a nerd I am.
I mean, listen, that's okay. I'm a fan of old sitcoms. I'm a fan of, I guess sitcoms from the 80s and 90s and some of even the new ones. So the fact that they are going through them is I'm looking forward to it. I remember watching with my mom the, I Love Lucy, Dick Van Dyke. I was a huge fan of those. I mean, and they were just so hilariously funny. And, as it started going into, the 50s, and you have a little bit of this. Actually, yeah. So I Love Lucy came out in, the mid-50s, and I guess that's, the first famous one. It's definitely not the first sitcom of its kind, but that's the one that kind of established sitcoms to be, the go-to form of entertainment for people that lived in that time. And then, it established a pattern that remained constant for decades that that we still kind of follow today. CBS, has always been very good when it comes to their sitcoms. I mean, I'm pretty sure we may have talked about, the Big Bang Theory, but, before the Big Bang Theory, at the very beginning of it all, very much was, I Love Lucy. So Dick Van Dyke, Bewitched, all of these shows, all of this stuff is getting referenced in WandaVision, and watching the trailer, it just kind of put me in this place, and I'm just like, man, I just can't wait to see it. Just for the fact that they're referencing all of this stuff. I don't know anything about the story, but just the fact that they're referencing things that I like is already going to be great. So, you get a little bit of Bewitched in there, and they make references to like Family Ties and Roseanne, in the 80s and 90s, and some of the new ones, and then they kind of leave that behind, and they kind of give you a tease about what that new story it is that they're going to be telling and what happens to them. We know that Vision's died because they mentioned it directly in the trailer. So I was like, okay, I thought Vision died, but, I just wanted to know if that Vision died. So it's
like, what?
Yeah. So is this a dream? Is this, reality warping? Is this the House of M? We don't know, but clearly they're aware and they wish to entertain us. So I'm really looking forward to this. I've been waiting for Marvel Studios stuff for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just like you. I'm just so excited to learn and just to watch and be entertained and be in this little mystery that they're trying to solve, or Vision's trying to solve in his head, I guess, maybe. We don't know. Or in Wanda's head. Is it in their heads? Is it happening for real?
No, I wish I could tell you. It's just so vague.
Don't know, Jace.
We don't.
Forget everything you know, man.
Yeah.
Just forget it.
So, who knows? Who knows what actually happens, but stop doing that. Just stop. But Darcy is in there. There is a little tiny, blurb where you see her in the background. Really it.
Yeah. When we got our first look at Monica Rambeau, right?
Monica Rambeau. And we see the nosy neighbor, but not mentioned by name, obviously. So,
yeah.
However, you do see that, she's in all of those different, eras, if you will. So who knows? I'm excited. I'm very much excited. We need this. We absolutely need this.
We do.
So, what else besides group watch with WandaVision, movie delays?
Yeah, so we got some more Marvel stuff to talk about. I think most of it is going to be Marvel from here on out, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
We have our Miss Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to talk about that?
I would. So yes, I would love to talk about that. So Miss Marvel has finally been cast. This is a character that, Marvel Studios has been talking about for a very long time. But it's really interesting because as soon as they announced it, we knew that it was going to be a Disney Plus series. And we know that the Disney Plus TV series is going to connect with the MCU movie series in a way that the TV shows have wished to connect. So, it's been announced for a very long time. Miss Marvel has finally been cast. And the name of the person that's going to be playing it is Iman Vellani. He's going to be playing Kamala Khan. She's a relative, newcomer. She's from Canada. That's pretty much all I know. There is some information.
From Canada.
Is it though?
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of Canadian actors, which is, awesome. It's great.
It's absolutely great.
But I just feel like every single time I hear, oh, they got this person. Where are they from? Canada. It's like, oh, well, that makes sense.
They produce great talent.
Apparently.
And they're so close.
They're like right there.
They're right there.
It's like they're our hat.
That's so weird. Anyways, comicbook.com wrote here, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has found this Kamala Khan. The upcoming Disney Plus series will star Iman Vellani in the titular role, with the series expected to debut on the streaming service in 2021. Vellani However, could make her debut as Miss Marvel ahead of the Miss Marvel series in a title slated to release before it will, and will likely go to appear in the Captain Marvel sequel scheduled for 2022. Production on the upcoming series is expected to begin in 2020, and introducing the world to Kamala Khan in live action for the first time after she appeared in the pages of Captain Marvel comics in 2013. So she's a relatively brand new character, but I do know, very much like Miles Morales, Miss Marvel and Spider-Gwen are, new characters that a lot of people do love reading about. So the fact that they're adapting these newer characters very quickly into the live action properties is great. It shows their flexibility. And I'll be honest with you, I do like Kamala Khan. From the time that, you and I have talked about the beta for the Avengers game, he's a pretty dope character. I'm not going to lie. So
I don't know much about her, but from what I've, seen from the Avengers beta, because I still have not yet purchased the full game. I'll be talking about that a little bit later. Why? But she's cool. I like her. I like the way that she was actually one of the highlights of the beta for me, her character specifically. And I think I said this, when we were talking about the beta earlier, but I think it's because I don't know very much about her, and I don't know very much about what she's capable of. And so that alone made me intrigued and made me like her from what I've seen. And I feel like it's going to be the same way when this, Disney Plus series eventually comes out, and when she's eventually in the movies. I'm going to like her more than likely because I'm learning along with everybody else for the first time about this character. And that kind of excites me, that I don't really know too much about, but I'm so happy to learn about.
Right.
So it's going to be really cool.
I agree. And, I'm glad that we're getting news, because just for a long time, I want to say for the entire summer of 2020, we weren't getting anything. I mean, we were just pretty much just rewatching just older content. And
we were in kind of lockdown, so.
Exactly. Nobody was, pretty much moving or doing anything, but we know that most people were just working from home. Most likely Marvel Studios is no different. So, Marvel is this weird place because it is entertaining, and while we do love watching the movies, for us, not only do we like watching them, we like discussing them, and news is also this very important piece and segment of it, because when they drop news and they have these events where they announce the new slate of movies for the new phase, it's, again, that is entertaining in its own right. We love hearing about new news, so the fact that they've been trickling this down for us is just fantastic. I'm just glad to hear it. So
absolutely. So Jace. So we talked about Miss Marvel. We talked about WandaVision.
Yes.
There was another cast, or a Marvel character cast as well.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
That is the one known as She-Hulk.
Finally.
We are finally going to be getting that She-Hulk series.
Mm-hmm.
And She-Hulk is going to be played by none other than Tatiana Maslany.
Mm-hmm.
You know who she is? Have you seen her before?
I have not, to be completely honest with you. But I do know that originally the person who was rumored to be cast in it was none other than Alison Brie. For a long time, she was rumored to be attached to it, and we thought that it was all but just had to be announced. But the fact that Tatiana has been cast tells us otherwise. So unless it's officially announced, anything can happen.
So yeah, if you're unaware of who Tatiana Maslany is, you should really, really check out a show called Orphan Black.
Mm-hmm.
She is amazing in that show. I watched the first 2 seasons. I think there's 4 total or 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's from BBC.
Mm-hmm.
She is amazing because she plays at least 4 or 5 different characters in an episode sometimes. Because basically it's based on her. She's a clone essentially, and so she plays these different clones with different personalities. One's just a normal person. One's somebody who's kind of like the party scene type of girl and stuff like that. One's like this techie, like low grade girl. It's like very, very different personalities across all of them, and she does an amazing job trying to differentiate each character. And the way that she acts across, like, from herself, essentially, is just, like, incredible. So I am very excited to see what she brings to the She-Hulk role. Because I really think she's a really great actress. So I'm excited to see what's going to become of it. Okay. Have you seen her in anything?
I haven't, to be completely honest with you. But, you know, I guess this is the part of the entertainment part that I like about news dropping for, you know, Marvel Studios. I mean, I don't mean for this to be sad news, but, you know, we were talking about it before with Chadwick Boseman, where, you know, when Chadwick Boseman was announced to play Black Panther, I mean, I remember distinctly chatting with you about this and saying, like, yo, Chadwick Boseman has been cast. I know him, not personally, but, like, I know of the movies that he had been in. And so just hearing that, you know, he was going from 42 to Black Panther, I was just like, I can't wait. I cannot wait to see what else he's going to do. I think at that point he had done not only 42, Jackie Robinson, but he was also in Get On Up playing James Brown. So for those two monumental movies for me, and to see him move to Black Panther, I was ready. But for you, you know, you saw that news and said, I don't really know too much about him, but, you know, I know him. So because, you know, Jace knows him, I'm excited. And if you decide to go back, you can see you have a reference point now. You know what I'm saying? This is how we get to know more movies, just because of all the connections that are being made.
Right, exactly.
So I'm not familiar with Orphan Black. I have heard of it, but, you know, if you give it a good review, I'm going to go back and see how I can stream it, hopefully, because I don't feel like paying for it, obviously.
Was it on Hulu? I'm trying to remember where I watched it. It might have been off the BBC app, honestly.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna
I'm due for a rewatch too, because I don't think I watched the final season, so I definitely need to rewatch it.
I love shows that have ended, because that allows me to, like, plan, like, okay, if there's only 4 seasons, I can plan my life and say, like, hey, it's done. It's not like The Simpsons. Like, The Simpsons is still on, and while it's great, it's over 31 seasons. That's a lot of seasons.
It's a lot. It's a lot to watch. But now, Jace.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about something.
Let's talk about it.
We're gonna talk about some big news that happened here, and it's big news because, you know, it's obviously due to my boy. Anyway, so we had some Spider-Man 3 news drop.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting this at all. I don't think anybody was. Like, how are they going to pull this off?
I don't know how they're going to do this. But can we just drop the news? Let's drop the news.
Yeah, so the news was that Spider-Man 3 is going to have Electro as its villain. Or a villain. We don't know if he's the main one or not.
Right.
But that's not the big news. No, Jace.
No.
The big news is that Jamie Foxx is coming back to reprise him.
Yes.
Jamie Foxx, who did Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Right.
What?
I don't... That's a very good representation of the response that you did when you first told me the news.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Let me clarify by saying this. I'm not saying what because of Jamie Foxx specifically, because I like him, right?
Right.
Like, Jamie Foxx is great. I love him as an actor. He does great work. Exactly. He does great work. The man is a genius. However, not the way that he portrayed it, because he was only doing it the way he was directed and written to do it, right? But his Electro, while I liked it, had some problems. It's my birthday.
It's my birthday.
I'm about to light up my candles.
It's my birthday.
Oh my gosh, that's 2 references right there. Perfect. Yeah, like Max Dillon in that movie was not necessarily the greatest. They underutilized him so much. But I did like.
Do you need my
I do
help?
like Electro as a villain.
Do you need my help? Yes, I need your help, Max. I need your help now. You need my help.
Oh my god, that scene! Every single time I watch that scene, I'm like, what? Mark Webb, what were you doing during that scene? Were you at lunch? Did you not want them to reshoot that?
He needs my help.
I need you. It's like, this isn't a romance movie. The man is made of electricity. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I like The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I know it has many flaws, but I enjoy the film.
So wait, complete side note. My favorite scene, favorite scene, I'm talking about a scene that I just make fun of every single time.
Sure, of course.
Spider-Man defeats Electro. Okay, he's done.
Yes.
You're about to celebrate, and literally, Green Goblin
Out of nowhere.
just sneaks from left to right onto the scene. And I'm like, where did he come from?
He just shows up.
Just legitimately an awkward pause that's in the scene. I was just like, is anybody going to say anything?
No, that's my favorite part. The pause when you just see Spider-Man just looking at him, and he already has the big eyes. So he's already like, the hell is this? He's the audience at that point. He's like, no, you're here?
Did he tilt his head in that scene? I think he tilted his head.
I think he does. I think he's just like,
And then the best part is he flies down from the top, so he sees everything that he's flying down towards, right?
Yeah.
He looks at Spider-Man, and then he turns around and he sees Gwen Stacy.
And then he goes,
Oh!
Peter! You betrayed me! I like Dane DeHaan. Like, dude killed it in Chronicle.
I was in the theater.
Sorry.
I was in the theater, and I literally fell on the floor.
Fell on the floor. The opening night.
So did I. I saw it with actually a mutual friend, and I was just like, so that was super weird.
So I left that movie, and I was like, oh, that was a fun movie. And then I thought about it a little bit more. I'm like, that was not good. I'm like, as a Spider-Man fan, no, that was not that great.
Yeah, you feel exactly how I felt about X-Men and Days of Future Past. Like, I legitimately got out of that movie, and everyone was just like, no, man, that movie was great. I was like, excuse me? Were we watching the same thing? They were like, oh, why didn't you like it, Jace?
I feel like that's a different story.
No, it's not. I'm telling you. So I'm pretty sure.
We're not getting into this right now.
We are getting into this. Who is my favorite character? Say it. Say it.
Bishop.
Thank you. Bishop was relegated.
Absolutely. 100% they did Bishop dirty.
What was happening in that film? It was the first 15 minutes of that film. The first 15 minutes, I was just like, okay, so this is how we're starting this. This is awful. This is absolutely awful.
Poor Bishop.
Poor Bishop. But anyway.
Hopefully he'll get his dues once they join the MCU.
Oh, let's hope. Let's hope that he gets his whole movie.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, so Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro, and I didn't know this, so I read this in the comments. Once the Marvel Studios Reddit went in a blaze over this news. Everyone was pretty much saying the same thing, like, "Yo, Jamie Foxx is great," but yeah, he was just given a really crappy deal, right, with that movie. And apparently, one of the people who also liked Jamie Foxx in the role was Kevin Feige. Mm-hmm. And in a long time ago, when the Sony leaked emails came out, this was years ago now. This is back, 2014, 13?
I love it when you give context. This is the good news. Please give me the context.
So in those leaked emails to Sony, there was some emails back and forth. They were asking Kevin Feige's advice on The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Mm-hmm. And one of those things was about Jamie Foxx being Electro, and Kevin Feige was like, no, that's a great casting choice for Electro. He's really, really great for it. I don't necessarily like the way he's written, but Jamie Foxx is great. Mm-hmm. So, and we all know how the movie turned out, obviously. So I think Kevin or Kevin Feige or whoever ultimately made the call to cast him, I'm sure he had some say in it, maybe. Was like, hey, let's give him another shot and do it for real this time. And I don't think, and it's already been said as well, I think Jamie Foxx was the one that said it, that he's not going to be blue like he was in the movie, which means he's not going to be based off the ultimate version of him, which is what he was based off of in the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
But we don't know.
In the Ultimate Universe, he's blue.
Right, but we don't know that for sure. And the reason why this is all interesting is because the news dropped in the trade report. So Hollywood Reporter first reported it. Yeah. And then,
So we know it's legitimate.
Right. So because
Hollywood Reporter would not do like a clickbait article.
Right. It's not wegotThiscovered.com.
Oh my god.
Definitely not.
If they, you know what it's funny about this? If they would have reported, we'd have been like, absolutely not. Immediately.
They said,
we'd
what?
Like, that's fake.
But it's when we've got this covered. Nah, that's all right.
Sorry. But Hollywood Reporter, are you serious? Oh my god.
Yeah, so we got this news, and clearly we got this news because we didn't even talk about this. They actually said that the villain that's going to be in Ant-Man 3 is going to be King the Conqueror, which is supposedly supposed to be this new villain that's going to be, replacing Thanos as the big bad for like the next series of movies. And the person that they are casting is going to be Jonathan Majors, who is in Lovecraft Country. That's on HBO Max. I don't know if you've seen that. I started watching that. It's actually a fantastic show, and he's a fantastic actor. So I'm really excited to see exactly how that's going to, like, what's he going to look like? What is he going to do? What is his goal? How is he replacing Thanos as the new big bad? Just so many questions that are there. So, like all of this news has been coming out. So when, this came from, Hollywood Reporter, we all started just thinking like, hey, listen, Jamie Foxx is going to be coming back. Is this going to be mentioning, like, hey, is this, there's going to be the Spider-Verse movie? Like, who knows what's actually going to be happening? Because Spider-Man 3, the sequel to Far From Home, is already pretty filled with what could potentially happen. I mean, Peter Parker has already been ousted, so who knows where we go from here. And then Jamie Foxx got on Instagram, and then he said, seemingly confirmed that he actually is going to be Electro, and he mentioned that he's not going to be blue. So if he's not going to be blue, that usually means if he's not blue, he's probably going to be yellow. We don't really know yet, because
I would hope he's going to wear his classic green and yellow costume. That'd be cool.
Right.
Or something similar to it.
But what's really interesting is that he posted a lot of fan art, and the first fan art was him in a cloud that was in the distance, and there's 3 Spider-Men in the forefront. So you really can't see the Spider-Men, but their masks are off, and it kind of looks like Miles, but it could also be Peter Parker from the Ultimate Universe, the original universe, and it could, but it could be the movie universe. It could be Andrew Garfield. It could be Tom Holland, and it could be, like, we don't know.
So Endgame, I'm going to say this right now. Endgame was quite possibly one of the biggest nerd moments for me, right? Mm-hmm. Because we had all these superheroes together. We had the culmination of this big story. And one of my favorite moments, obviously, is when you see Spidey swing out and come out. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, cool, my boy Spider-Man is playing with all of these Marvel characters.
Right.
Jace, I don't know what I would do with myself if I go and watch a movie where I see Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland all standing right next to each other in a live-action Spider-Verse movie.
I think I might.
I don't know what I would do.
Yeah. You might explode.
I just don't know what I would do.
Yeah, you might explode. You might cry a little. You might also pee a little. I don't know. Like, I think I'm just going to give you your moment. I'm just going to stand away and let you do your thing.
Like, I was hyped as hell when I saw Civil War and he showed up for the first time when it just said Queens right in the beginning, or right at that moment. I was like,
Queens? What are you talking about? The trailer? I couldn't even talk to you for the trailer.
Well, I mean, the trailer's one thing, but actually seeing the film, right? Like, seeing the movie, and Queens pops up, and I'm like, all right, let's go. This is officially, I have Spider-Man with the rest of these characters. Mm-hmm. And then to see him in Infinity War, to see him in Endgame. And then if I get this, seeing the three of them together, and then if they, for whatever reason, cast somebody to be a live action Miles Morales on top of that.
Dude.
Oh.
Dude.
I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do either. It would be... I don't know, man. It's just... It's interesting also. And the reason why I say that is because I'm thinking about, Donald Glover and how he was rumored to be Spider-Man and everyone lost their S over it. Like, they were like, no, he can't be, blah, 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 blah. And, he gets casted in Homecoming and he plays, the uncle of Miles Morales, not,
He's basically Prowler.
Yeah, I mean, but, like, it's not explicitly said. So the fact that they're literally putting everything together into this one universe that's the MCU is just, bonkers to me. It's absolutely bonkers. Yeah, I can't
hype myself up too much because it's going to be too amazing.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be ultimate. It's going to be
spectacular.
It's going to be spectacular. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be all the things.
It's going to be Peter Parker. What other subtitles? Oh, it's going to be sensational. It's going to be superior.
Yeah. Superior. Ooh, dude, if I had Superior Spider-Man show up. Yeah.
Oh.
Superior is special. Super special. Like, I don't want to mess with Superior.
Do you know what I want now?
What?
I'm saying all these words. I want Scarlet Spider. I want Ben Reilly.
I think we might just get it all at this point.
Dude, if I get Ben Reilly live action, let's go.
Dude, that costume, I don't care what anybody says. I like Ben Reilly. I like his costume.
I love the Ben Reilly costume.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. You're super excited. I think we're all super excited for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I cannot wait for all this.
But that's not all the Spidey news that we got.
It isn't. So not only did that news drop, we also had another news drop for the Spider-Man remaster on PS5 that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And, they showed off some gameplay, and I was like, ooh, this is looking really good. A lot of reflections. I mean, reflections are all the rage on next generation, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But no, the animations are a lot crisper, smoother. They're, full 4K 60 frames.
Yep.
It's really, really awesome. And you can definitely tell if you look at screenshots from PS4 to PS5. It's a big upgrade.
Yeah.
And then we also learned about, load times have been reduced, obviously, because it's on the SSD.
Do you think that they might actually add puddles now?
They might. And you know what? They might be reflective on top of that.
Context?
So, context, what was it? Right before the release of the game, they put out a final trailer for it. Well, actually, before that, at the E3 trailer, they had like a section of the game being played. It's a big section where you're chasing Martin Lee's helicopter and all this stuff.
Right.
But there's an area that you're fighting some of his minions in, and there's puddles and whatnot, and everything looks super like high def, like it did on PS4. And then the final game, those puddles are gone. Like, everything else is there, but the puddles are gone for whatever reason, and everyone's like, oh, this game isn't that great, you can't even render puddles, blah, blah, blah. And it became this weird, stupid thing. Like, I don't understand.
It became
it's
a
like
meme.
It's like they removed the puddles, so what? Like, is that a big deal? Like, is that a thing? And I just hope that there's extra puddles everywhere just so everyone shuts up for the PS5 remaster. Like, Insomniac's like, oh, you want puddles? There's going to be a puddle in the sky for no reason. It's like, what?
Why is puddles on walls.
Puddles on walls, everything. You look out in the Hudson River, there's a puddle on the Hudson River. Let's go. What?
What am I looking at?
How does that work?
I don't know.
Isn't that just water on top of water, so it would just be water? I don't know.
Hey, bro, I heard you like water, so I got water for your water.
7 out of 10. Too much water. Anyway.
Anyways, but that's not the big news, apparently. We're not talking about
that's
puddles.
not the big news.
No, the big news is uncharacteristically, because we talk about movies and we talk about casting, and occasionally we might talk about recasting. But
this is a different type of recast.
Yeah. So Spider-Man's PS4 got recasted.
Yeah. So essentially, what happened was Insomniac redid the face model of Peter Parker for the Spider-Man PS5 remaster.
Right.
So he looks different, completely different. He looks younger, actually.
He looks like Tom Holland.
He does. He honestly does look a little bit more like Tom Holland. And I don't know the exact reason for this change. In all honesty, I really liked the way that he looked in Spider-Man PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm saying I don't necessarily like the new look either, but it's just that, well, I've seen that face. I've been, playing as him this entire time. Well, technically not, which we'll get to that in a second. But like I'm used to that Peter Parker already with Yuri Lowenthal's voice. And whenever I hear that Yuri Lowenthal Spider-Man now, I will see that Peter Parker face. So it's going to be a little weird to get used to this one.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, what I just mentioned was you don't really play as Peter Parker much in the game. You're always Spider-Man in a mask.
Mm-hmm.
So the only times you're really going to see that model is in cutscenes, obviously.
Right.
But still, it's like, all right, well, I'm going to have to get used to the new look. That being said, I don't mind the new look. Like, he looks fine. Yes, he looks a little younger and whatnot. But, it still looks okay.
Yeah.
Would I have preferred that they didn't change it? Yes. But, fine. They changed it. It's whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So this is actually going to go back for a while now. Because, like, Spider-Man has always been a character that I liked. He wasn't always my favorite character. Sure. I was always, obviously, as you know, I'm a bigger X-Men fan than Spider-Man, but that doesn't mean that I dislike Spider-Man. But Peter Parker is always, because like I get Spider-Man, I get it. I know his foes, I know his powers, I know his deal, I know his story. But when it comes to Peter Parker, I've always struggled with how he looked. And this has been from like the original Fox cartoons, like Fox Kids from like the 90s. Like, I'm used to seeing him, but even when I first saw Peter Parker, walking in the streets, going to school, talking with Aunt May, he always looked weird to me. I was like, I always had this moment where I would look at it and say, like, okay, so that's Peter Parker. Like, it wasn't like known. Like, it's strange. Like, I would know that if I'm looking at, Scott Summers, Cyclops, like, okay, that's him. If I'm looking at Logan, that's him. If I'm looking at Professor Xavier, I'm like, okay, that's him. Eric Lensher, same thing. But Peter Parker, I always had to had to get used to it. And I don't know why that is. But after that, when they started making new Spider-Man stuff, I'm like, okay, that's Peter Parker. But there was always this moment that I always had to get over this hurdle. So consequently, that was the late 90s. Sony buys the rights to, do Spider-Man movies. And then they make the announcement. They say Sam Raimi is going to be, directing the movies. I'm super excited. I'm like, Evil Dead is awesome. I really like that movie. Darkman, I remember that movie when that came out. I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. I can't wait to see it. And then they casted Tobey Maguire, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, yeah, that's okay. Okay, that's Peter. I would say, yeah, I say the same thing every single time. So, Tobey Maguire, and like again after the end of that movie, I was like, okay, yeah, that's Tobey Maguire, it's Peter Parker. And then after the third movie, Sony be Sony, Then they cast Andrew Garfield, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, okay, that's Peter Parker. Like, it's just this weird moment. There's always this hurdle that I have to get over every single time, right? Same thing with Tom Holland. Same thing. There's this moment, I just stared at his picture, and I'm like, okay. So before I said it, I was like, so he's young.
Yeah.
He's very, very young. But that's okay. That's it's Peter Parker. So now it's happening in games, and it happened for the PS4. Like, I remember playing the game. I remember watching like the trailers and stuff like that. I'm like, ooh, yeah, he looks weird. So this is Peter Parker. It happens again. Like, dude, every single time they show Peter Parker, he always looks weird to me at first. But it only lasts for like a day. It's only a day, and then it's fine.
You just have a problem looking at Peter Parker's face.
And for only a minute. It's only for a minute.
But then he puts on the mask. Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, he's fine. He's like, okay, yeah, he's doing Spider-Man stuff. And then I'm fine.
And you're okay.
Yeah, he puts on the mask, he's fine. Like, when he first, like, he's walking in school, like, Tobey Maguire was so weird. Like, I just had this moment where I was just like, I don't know.
Because he looked way older.
I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. This is making me uncomfortable. This is this grown man in high school.
That made you uncomfortable? What about when freaking, what's his name, Flash came out?
Yeah.
Flash 100% got left back like 10 years.
That's actually characteristic for how bullies work.
I mean, okay, so you're going to give them A for casting truthfully.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also Deadshot now, so that even makes it even better.
You're right. Is he still Deadshot? That's a different story.
I mean, well, we'll find out.
That's a different story altogether.
Let's find out next year when the Snyder Cut comes out, because we don't know.
God, jeez. Oh my God! Imagine he's in the Snyder Cut.
Oh, that would be so good.
That would actually be really dope. Anyways,
we're really getting ahead of ourselves. So I say that to say that the new change. I'm used to this by now. Like, I just, it is what it is at this point. Like, everyone's like super, and like people are acting super strange on Twitter. They're like threatening people, like they're gonna find, the lead developer. And I'm like, are you serious?
Don't understand people.
Like, you're threatening people's lives. Don't do that, people. If you're listening to the show, like, go outside and for a walk, please. Don't.
Here's the thing. Like, I've said, it's established. I am a freaking Spider-Man fanatic at this point, right? They changed his face. Do you know what I said? I was like, all right, I don't know why they changed it, but okay, cool.
Right.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
That's all I did.
How about this? I'm gonna one up you, because I always have to do that. I'm sometimes competitive. Yeah. So, Days of Future Past. Oh, Bishop's in it. I can't wait, dude. I'm so excited. Bishop's gonna be in there. I'm so pumped. Oh, that's Bishop's role. He's just a time traveling sidekick, and he's not coming back for the rest of the film. That's it. That's okay. And the credits are rolling. So, Jace, what did you think about the movie, Jace, the Future Past? It's not my favorite. I don't like it very much. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm not going to threaten the director.
You mean you didn't try to kill Bryan Singer?
No.
Like, you didn't try to, like, strangle him to death?
No.
What?
No.
What is wrong with you? You're not a true fan, James.
No. I promise you, I don't care.
I don't understand how you can think, because you don't like the way a fictional character looks. Or, heck, going back to the whole Last of Us debacle, what a fictional character does to another fictional character. How you can threaten the lives of real people.
Sir, can you tell me why?
I just don't understand the correlation.
Sir, can you tell me why you're on the witness stand today? Yeah, I threatened the director because he screwed up a game that I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, those polygons on screen there. Those are the ones I'm upset about. Like, I just don't understand. Like, again, I understand you're passionate about a certain thing. Like, that's fine and dandy. But, like, don't threaten somebody's life because of it. Like, sure, Spider-Man means a whole lot to me than, people realize. But at the same time, I'm not going to go and be like, you messed up his face, now I'm going to mess up yours for real. And, like, what? No!
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
Yeah. So it's actually really interesting. There was a because on Twitter, I'm always on Twitter. There was a tweet by, I'm going to just reference it here. So if this person's actually watching this podcast for some reason, shape, or form, I hope you enjoy the call out. But it's from @TweetPeachGames. And the tweet said, I need you to understand that Peter wasn't a great character in PS4 Spider-Man because of his face. It was because he wrote well. Imagine sending death threats to devs over something that ultimately means nothing. He's still the exact same character. Stop being weirdos. And then somebody made a response saying, don't know why I read this in Michael Keaton's voice. And I don't know why, but it's true. As soon as I reread that, I was like, yeah, I could totally read that in Michael Keaton's voice. It's perfect.
I'm going to have to think about that.
No, it's true. Just think about it. It's from the scene in Homecoming when Peter Parker in the homemade suit comes in and it was just like, I found you. You're done. You're over.
Yeah.
And he goes, I need you to understand that Peter wasn't a great character in PS4 Spider-Man because of his face. Yeah.
Huh.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton sounds nothing like that, but I get it.
It sounded like that in my head.
You got the point across.
Yeah, I got the point. That's all I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to get the point across. I'm not a voiceover
Okay, that
actor.
makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, you know what? Now I want to watch Homecoming again.
There you go.
Man, he was so good in that. He's going to be Morbius.
Yes, he is. I keep forgetting about that fact.
We would have understood the significance of him being in Morbius by now.
I know we should.
Anyway.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. All right. So we got one last thing to talk about before we get out of here. And it's going to be a quick little blurb.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think so.
It might be. We'll find out in a
find
second
out.
here. So the last thing on our docket is PS5 and Xbox Series X and S pre-orders went up last week as of this recording. Or 2 weeks ago now? Last week?
It feels like it.
Last week, 2 weeks ago almost. I don't know. I can't keep track of time. It's been like 84 years since we've done an episode. That's a Titanic reference. And so they went up. We couldn't get one.
No.
The first wave, anyway. I tried for PS5. Did not try for Xbox because I realized it doesn't make sense for me. You tried.
No.
For PS5.
It's just not happening.
Yeah. And neither of us in the first wave could get anything. I think we did mention this, Sony saying that, hey, we screwed up the pre-orders and we're sorry about that and all that stuff. And they sent out another wave of pre-orders, this time alerting people beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually lucky enough to receive one of those invitations.
Aren't you lucky?
So I was able to pre-order my PS5 from Sony directly, along with Miles Morales Ultimate Edition.
Mm-hmm.
So November 12th, I will be here playing Miles Morales on my PS5, and I can't wait.
So is it Miles Morales, or are you going to play the Ultimate Edition first?
Oh no! I'm jumping straight into Miles Morales because I've played the crap out of Spider-Man PS4, and I want new content, so I will immediately be diving into Miles Morales. After I dive into Miles Morales, though, I will then dive into Remaster, and then I've decided, against my bitter judgment, but I've decided to re-platinum Spider-Man PS4 on PS5. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself.
Wait,
I
don't. That doesn't even make sense. Why would you do that?
Because they added new trophies, so they're different from the one from PS4.
I really think there's something wrong with you.
So I'm gonna redo it.
I think you have a problem that you need to address.
Redo it.
I think you have a problem.
And I'm gonna have to do those screwball challenges again.
You have a problem. You have
Taskmaster ones weren't that bad, but the screwball ones were really bad.
You have a problem.
But yeah, so then I'm gonna do that one, and then I'm of course gonna platinum Miles Morales. So I'm planning on Miles Morales being my 100th platinum. We'll see if I do it.
I wish you all the best. I really do.
Thank you. I took a month hiatus from getting trophies, so I'm slowly getting back. I got a few trophies the other day, so almost close to doing Bioshock Infinite. Okay. So that's gonna be fun.
Hooray!
Yeah. Told you it was gonna be quick. That's it about pre-orders.
Yeah, I didn't get it, so hopefully I'll get it on launch day.
I mean, yeah. So that was my plan, right? So my plan was, if I didn't get that email, was going to be I take off of work on November 12th. And if they had a midnight release, I would have gone to that. If they didn't have a midnight release due to like public health and safety, I would have been traveling from Best Buy to Walmart to whatever to see if any retailers had it release day. That was going to be my whole day. But now that I'm good, I still took off that day to play it, but yeah, I don't have to worry about that now. So that's pretty much what you're going to do. You're just going to try to go to a few different Best Buys and see if they have it.
Probably. I mean, obviously I have no intention of camping out because I'm a grown up and I just don't want to do that. So I'm going to find out. I'll find out what they're doing, and if you start lining up in the morning, then yeah, I'll get there in the morning. That's what happened. I remember waiting online for one of the Nintendo Classic systems. I had a day off, and I was able to get there.
Yeah,
I got there.
Yeah.
They
I
gave
waited
me a
in line
ticket.
for the Switch.
Once I got my ticket, I was able to just come back anytime during the day, before the store actually opened. And then, I went home, just carried on my day. Before the store closed, I just came in and picked it up. So hopefully they do that. I'm imagining with COVID, it's going to be a little, along the same lines where they don't want people lining up outside the mall. So hopefully they have like a queue system.
Hopefully.
So we'll find out. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Fair enough. But once we both get ours, we're definitely gonna, talk about all the features. We're gonna talk about everything, and see if this system was worth upgrading for, which I think it will be. But we'll definitely do a review of Miles Morales because you're also picking that up, right?
Yeah, I'm picking up everything. I'm picking up Avengers because I didn't pick it up for the PS4, and I'm thinking at this point, because I'm playing Kingdom Hearts, I'm playing Mario 3D All Stars, so it doesn't make sense for me to get a PS4 game because then I'm going to be bouncing in between like 10 games. It doesn't make any sense.
World.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So I'm skipping on Tony Hawk. I'm skipping on Avengers. I'm just going to be playing these like 7 to 10 games. And then once I finish, and I'm almost done with Birth by Sleep, which is, phenomenal so far.
Told you.
I didn't deny it at all.
I know, but I'm just letting you know. I'm like, hey, this is a great game.
Yeah. So,
like, I think I've said it on the podcast, but I put Birth by Sleep like on par with 2 in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that good to me.
2 is still definitely up there. Birth by Sleep has, gone from obscurity to like, yeah, this is definitely a contender for like maybe top 5, probably top 5. Yeah. Because Kingdom Hearts 2 is up there. Kingdom Hearts 3 is definitely up there. Kingdom Hearts 1, just because it started the whole series. Chain of Memories is really low on the list. I've actually found
I don't want to talk about Chain of Memories.
I actually found my Game Boy Advance and my Kingdom Hearts for that system. So I want to see which one. I'm actually playing them side by side and seeing like which one did I do better in. So we'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, so we'll definitely talk about all that once we're good.
Yep, absolutely. Is there anything else that we need to talk about before we wrap up?
I think we're good, bro.
Cool and the gang. So thanks so much for tuning in. I'll tell you what, if you like what we had to say, you can follow us on Twitter. I am at Jace Rockland. And Josh?
I am at GCA90. You can also find us over on Twitters at FGC Podcast, on Instagram as FGC Podcast, or get this, you can email us at freshgeekcontext@gmail.com.
And you can also visit our website at freshgeekcontext.com for written articles, galleries, and videos, as well as Spreaker.com. Just search for Fresh Geek Context there, or on any streaming platform of your choice. It goes a long way for us to know that you're listening, and share with your friends so they can be Fresh Geeks too. Until next time.
Back in my day, we didn't have video games. We just played with the stick in the dirt. You kids have it way too easy.
Grandpa, you need to stop. Jace, I am so sorry about this, that Grandpa keeps coming. I just need to get him outside. You know how he is. He's very temperamental.
Right.
Don't call me a temperature.
I said temperamental, not temperature.
It's the same thing.
I think there's something wrong with you.
Grandpa. Just can't get rid of him. It's horrible.
What did he say?
Don't worry, Grandpa. It's fine. It's fine.
This is what I have to deal with all the time.